The humid air hung thick as congealed blood, choking Sergeant Nguyen Van Thuc's lungs as he crouched in the underbrush of Phuoc Tuy Province, exactly 2:17 a.m. on the night of July 14, 19. No explosions rattled the earth. No rotors thrashed the canopy like angry gods. Just silence. An unnatural void where the jungle's symphony, crickets, frogs, distant monkey calls, had been erased. Thuc's heart hammered against his ribs, sweat stinging his eyes as he gripped his AK-47 tighter. He'd heard the Americans coming from miles away before. The thunder of Hueys dumping troops, the chatter of M60s chewing through vines, artillery blooming like fiery flowers. Predictable, survivable. But this? Nothing. His platoon of 20 had been tracking a supply trail for days, boasting of ambushing the next Yankee patrol. Now, paranoia clawed at him. How could ghosts hunt in broad daylight without a whisper? This wasn't war. It was being hunted by shadows that knew your every breath before you exhaled it. And those shadows weren't American. They were the Ma Rung, the jungle ghosts, the Australian SAS, whose silent patrols had turned the Viet Cong's deepest strongholds into graveyards of dread. From the NVA commander's vantage in a hidden bunker cluster, Captain Le Duc An stared at the flickering oil lamp, his fingers trembling over a captured map marked with red X's, each one a vanished patrol, courtesy of those cursed Australians. "They move like termites through rotten wood," he muttered to lieutenants, his voice a rasp, honed by weeks without sleep. American sweeps? A joke. You'd hear the B-52s carpet bombing 10 clicks out, feel the ground quake from 155mm shells, watch GIs crash through the jungle in companies of 100, their boots pounding like war drums, their laughter and curses echoing long before their bayonets gleamed. You could melt into the green sea, set booby traps, pick them off from afar. The Yanks brought napalm infernos that scorched the earth but left you time to vanish. Scale versus subtlety. Their tactic was a sledgehammer smashing a hornet's net, alerting every enemy within earshot. But the Aussies? 4 men, sometimes 5, a scalpel slipping unseen between ribs. An had seen the reports himself, intercepted diaries from Aussie signalers, smudged with mud and desperation, detailing patrols that crawled forward at a snail's pace, 200 meters in 8 hours, freezing mid-step to listen to the jungle. No deodorant to betray their scent to Vietnamese trackers' noses. No shaving cream's chemical tang. Cigarettes stubbed out before missions. Rations cold, odorless mush eaten from tins. They shaved with dry blades in the dark, their beards growing wild to blend with the foliage. "We become the jungle," one diary confessed. Per U.S. intelligence summaries later declassified. ANH's own intel brief, pieced from terrified survivors, painted the horror. These phantoms didn't charge. They observed. For days. Mapping trails, noting latrine habits, the shift changes of sentries. Then, at dawn or dusk when your guard slipped, a single suppressed shot, a .308 from an L1A1 SLR rifle, dropped your point man. His body dragged silently into the vines before Thuc's platoon had laughed off the warnings. Phantasmas? Superstition, they'd scoffed, slapping mosquitoes while cooking rice over open fires that wafted fragrant betrayal for kilometers. But now, in that suffocating quiet, Thuc felt it, the paranoia seeping in like jungle rot. His lieutenant had forbidden fires 3 days prior, citing Ma Rung sightings, but habits died hard. Last night, a scout returned babbling. He'd smelled nothing, heard nothing, yet found his buddy eviscerated, throat slit so clean it looked like surgical work. No blood trail leading away, no footprint, just a faint depression in the mud, as if the killer had levitated. From An's perspective, it was worse. These weren't berserkers high on amphetamines like some GIs. They were patient predators, trained in Malayan jungles a decade earlier, where they'd learned that speed killed the hunter, not the hunted. U.S. battalion commanders envied them, per Pentagon after-action reports. Operation Wandering Souls in 1967 logged Aussie patrols achieving 50-to-1 kill ratio, while Yanks averaged 10-to-1 at best, their noise giving the game away. Deep in the commander's bunker, And pored over a dog-eared copy of Directive 105, his own NVA High Command's edict: avoid contact with Australian Special Forces unless numerical superiority exceeds 10.1. They do not fight fair. It wasn't bravado. It was etched in blood. Captured VC notebooks from Phuoc Tuy described sleepless nights, sentries hallucinating whispers in the wind, platoons abandoning posts after ghost lights, actually Aussie signal mirrors flashing warnings to artillery that never came, pure psychological jujitsu. One entry translated in a 1969 May CV Intel bulletin read, "The Americans roar like tigers, easy to evade. The Australians slither like vipers, fangs unseen until the venom spreads." Thuk, pulse racing, signaled his men to fan out, but doubt gnawed. Had they passed the ghosts already? Were eyes watching from the banyan roots, counting breaths? The paradox burned. How did a handful of sunburned foreigners from a sunburnt continent outwit jungle-born sons in their own backyard? It wasn't magic, it was monastic discipline. While U.S. Marines humped 80-pound packs, radios blaring rock and roll for morale, SAS troopers carried 20 kilos max. Sterling submachine guns, silenced with oil-soaked rags, Claymore mines pre-sighted for exfiltration. They froze for hours, camoed in leaf-mimicking ghillie suit, breathing through reed snorkels if submerged in swamps. An slammed the map down, sweat beading on his brow. Tomorrow's supply convoy would test it. But in his gut, he knew the Ma Rung were already there, listening, always listening. As dawn's gray light filtered through the canopy, Thuk caught it. A flicker, unnatural, a branch, displaced, then silencing. The jungle exhaled, but the ghosts, they inhaled. Thuk's finger whitened on the trigger, his eyes locked on that errant branch swaying in a breeze that hadn't stirred the rest of. 14 seconds ticked by in eternity, 14 seconds where the world. Then, from the mist-shrouded undergrowth 20 meters ahead, a muffled snap, like a twig under invisible weight. No footfall, no rustle of leaves, just the jungle conspiring with the unseen. Thuk's radioman whispered urgently into the handset, voice cracking. "Captain An, contact possible. Grid 4821, requesting." Static cut him off as Thuk slapped the antenna down. No time for brass. Survival was now a solo gamble. From An's bunker, miles back but linked by frayed nerves, the report crackled in like a death knell. He'd been awake all night. Chain smoking captured American Lucky Strikes, their acrid bite a poor substitute for the herbal calm he craved. His lieutenants huddled closer, faces gaunt under the lamp's jaundiced glow. "Thuk's platoon," one stammered, pointing to the map's pencil-scratched overlay. An nodded grimly, recalling a declassified snippet from a 1968 ARVN intel dump. Aussie SAS patrol logs boasting contact avoidance 98%, turning hunters into the eternal hunted. "They don't seek firefights," An growled, his words echoing NVA Field Manual Supplement 47, smuggled from Hanoi. "Australian phantoms prioritize observation over engagement. One sees you first, you die unseen." Thuk's men, 20 strong, felt invincible on paper. AKs, RPGs, the home soil edge. But against four shadows? Numbers meant nothing when the enemy owned the silence. Flash to the patrol leader, Corporal Mick Dingo Riley. No, from Thuk's fevered imagination, it was a demon with eyes like polished jade, bearded face caked in leaf mulch, moving on all fours through the root tangle. Riley's team, per later extracted Aussie after-action reports from N67 Squadron, had inserted via blacked-out helo drop 2 clicks east at 2347 the prior evening. 4 men, point man with silenced Owen gun, tracker with binoculars fused to his skull, medic sniper packing the L42A1308 that whispered death at 600 meters, and rear scout with claymores slung like deadly fruit. They'd humped 110 meters in 4 hours, halting every 20 to jungle freeze, backs to trees, breaths sink to the cicadas, palms pressed to earth feeling for vibration. No pit stops that reeked. They'd pissed into their canteens earlier, rationing the contents for hydration. Contrast that with Uncle Sam's boys. Riley's U.S. liaison officer debriefed post-mission. Pentagon transcripts revealing how 1st Infantry Division sweeps covered 5 clicks daily. Hueys buzzing overhead like chainsaws, GIs cursing in Texan drawls while chomping sea rations that stank of beans and spam from half a click away. "We bulldoze, they burrow," the Yank admitted. Kill ratio for his battalion scraping 8.1, while SAS notched 47 confirmed in one Phuoc Tui sweep alone. Thuk crept forward, bayonet fixed, signaling his grenadier to flank left. The air thickened with rot, fermenting durian fruit masking their own sweat, but not enough. A faint whiff hit, nothing, primal, like the jungle itself exhaling. Then horror blew. 10 meters off, his point man's body jerked once, a red mist blooming from his temple before he crumpled soundlessly into ferns. No bang, just a wet thump. Thuk dove prone, scanning wildly. Footprints? None. Blood spray, arced, precise, no pool. Dragged already? Panic rippled through his squad. One private bolted, RPG clattering, only to snag a vine and scream as it whipped taut. An, monitoring via runner relays, felt his stomach lurch. He'd lost patrols like this before. Last month, Operation Atlas Eyes, a 12-man VC unit vaporized overnight. Survivor testimony archived in MacV's 1969 Jungle Warfare Compendium described it. We heard monkeys flee at dusk. By dawn, 5 headless, no shots. Ghosts took scalps as trophies. An had burned that report himself, lest morale shatter further. Deeper in the green hell, Riley's team melted backward. The sniper, Private Ghost Harlan, chambering another round with oiled precision. They'd clocked Thuk's platoon at 400, 300 meters out, via thermal bleed from their bodies against the cooling night. Textbook NVA trail, Harlan's log read later. Per Australian War Memorial Archives. Rice steam rising 50 meter downslope. Latrine break at ZO 315, scent vector north. While U.S. LRRP teams thrashed with machetes, clearing LZs that screamed, "Here we are," SAS wielded parangs like surgeons, parting vines without a leaf's protest. Slow was lethal, 400 meters in 12 hours total. Listening posts every 50. Ears cocked for enemy coughs, boot scrapes, even the subtle shift of rifle slings on webbing. Ani's paranoia peaked as the runner gasped in, "Thuk down to 14. One sniper confirmed, no visual." Directive 105 burned in his mind. Evacuate zone if Ma Rung detected. But pride chained him. Americans? You'd counter with 107mm rockets? Melt away under arty barrages. Aussies forced you to fight blind. Your own shadows suspect. Thuk rallied, popping green smoke for extraction, but the jungle swallowed it whole. A second crack. His grenadier spun, RPG tumbling, eyes vacant. 13 now. Whispers erupted. "Ma Rung! They smell our fear!" One clutched a Buddhist amulet, muttering invocations against spirits. From An's lens, it validated the ghost's genius. Psychological evisceration before the physical. Captured VC diaries from 68 patrols ranted of vines that strangle, trees with eyes. After SAS psyops, fake blood trails leading to claymores, mirrors flashing false signals. U.S. ops were symphonies of destruction. 500-pounders from F-4 Phantoms, turning SQKMs to ash. But survivors scattered, regrouped. SAS? 1 kill per patrol often sufficed. The rest fleeing tails that hollowed battalions. Thuk, crawling back, glimpsed it. A silhouette, bearded, ghillie-draped, vanishing into root balls like smoke. No pursuit, just gone. An crumpled the map. Directive be damned. Pull them out. All units, but radio silence answered. The ghosts had cut lines, jammed Frex with portable buzzers. Dawn climbed higher, mocking. Thuk huddled with survivors, counting breaths. Not his anymore, but theirs. Waiting. Always waiting. In the distance, a single Huey thumped. Americans, late to the party. Too loud, too late. The jungle whispered secrets only the Ma Rung under. And as Thuk's eyes darted to every shadow, he realized the fear wasn't dying. It was being left alive to spread it. Thuk's survivors, 11 ragged souls now, faces smeared with mud and terror, huddled in a root-choked depression, the Huey's distant thump fading like a cruel mirage. "Yankees!" Thuk hissed through clenched teeth, his voice barely a thread in the humid shroud. But the chopper veered east, its roar swallowed by the canopy, chasing ghosts of its own making. No Puff's gunships circling with minigun fireflies, no thundering 105s leveling the grid. Just them, alone with the Ma Rung's invisible noose tightening. Thuk's mind reeled back to the briefing tent 3 weeks prior, where An had unrolled a captured Aussie rucksack manifest, yellowed paper from a dead signaler, per Phuoc Tui sector intel logs. Patrol loadout, 4X ONSMGs suppressed, 2X L1A1 zeroed at 200 meters, 6X claymores, 48 Wahar sea rats cold-eaten, no insect repellent, scent discipline paramount. Thuk had smirked then, calling it white man voodoo. Now it mocked him from every rustling frond. From his bunker, An paced the earthen walls, the oil lamp sputtering shadows that danced like specters. His runner had collapsed at the entrance, gasping fragments. Thuk, sniper, no sound, 8 down. An's fist smashed a bamboo stool, splintering it like brittle bone. He'd pored over NVA Psychological Warfare Annex 22, Hanoi dispatched after the 1967 Long Tan bloodbath, where 108 Aussies held off 2,500 VC. But it was the prelude patrols that haunted. 3 SAS teams, 12 men total, had scouted the trails undetected, calling in Aussie artillery that turned assault waves to mist. Scale illusion, the annex warned, quoting a defector's deposition. Americans flood rivers with bodies and bombs. Visible tempests you navigate. Australians are fog, formless, pervasive, claiming lives one breath at a time. An had enforced it province-wide. No platoon under 30 for sweeps, fires doused at dusk, scouts doubled on scent trails. Yet here, Thuc's 20 had melted to 11 without a firefight's echo. Thuc signaled a breakout. Crawl north to the stream, link with 2nd Company. His medic, hands shaking as he bandaged a grazing wound from shrapnel that wasn't, whispered, "Sergeant, the vines, they move wrong." Paranoia. Or truth. Per a smuggled VC Scouts journal, seized by ARVN in 68 sweeps, and circulated in Macy V's Viet Cong morale dossier. Ma rung we've gillies from our own dead leaves. Patrol in diamond freeze. 1 man points, all halt like statues. Heard a GI radio boast post-mission. We crossed a 50-meter kill zone in 3 hours. NVA walked right over us. Thuc froze as a pebble skipped downslope, feather light, no bigger than a rifle slug. His RPG man, eyes wild, swung his launcher. Crack. A suppressed pop answered from the gloom, the man's head snapping back, brains painting a banyan trunk in abstract crimson. 10 left. No body drag this time. The ghost let it lie, bait perhaps. An snatched the radio, overriding static. "Thuc, abort! Vector to rally Bravo 7. But the line hissed empty, cut, jammed, or worse, monitored. An's lieutenants exchanged glances, one clutching a faded photo of Hanoi wives, another fingering an amulet etched with Directive 105's runes. Australian SAS. Priority evade. Kill ratio est. 500.1 per intel feud. It wasn't hyperbole. Australian War Memorial dispatches from Phuoc Tui, 68, tallied 492 NVA VC, confirmed KIA by 2 squadron SASR patrols, totaling 1,200 man-days. 2 losses only, both to malaria, not lead. Contrast the U.S. 1st Cavalry's Aya Drang Grinder, 305 Americans dead for 3,561 enemies, but at the cost of B-52 strikes visible from Laos, drawing Hanoi reinforcements like flies to carrion. Aussies? Surgical voids in enemy roster, PSYOP multipliers as survivors spread ghost feet. Desertion spiking 40% in affected sectors per captured NVA quarterly returns. Deeper in the thicket, Thuc's platoon fragmented. 2 privates bolted right, machetes hacking blindly. Thwip from shadows felled them mid-swing. Owen burst stitching vines without leaf fall. 8. Thuc's radio man clutched the set like a shield, babbling chords before a blade whispered across his gurgle silenced by a gloved hand. 7. The jungle's orchestra resumed mockingly, frogs croaking derision. As Thuc belly crawled alone now, breath ragged, AK slung useless across his back. He'd smelled Americans a click-out, gun oil, aftershave, Hershey bars rotting in pockets. Yanks bulldozed with M79 grenade launchers blooming orange fireballs, their companies a 200-meter footprint screaming location. SAS, primal void. Riley's Phantom team, imagined through Thuc's delirium, had logged it meticulously. Enemy thermal sig at 0412, platoon halt, rice vapors, sniper hold, observe shift change 0515. Per declassified AATTV liaison reports, SAS jungle list drilled from Malayan emergency vets froze patrols for 45-minute vibe checks. Palms to soil-sensing boot tremors, nostrils flaring for soap traces, Vietnamese noses caught at 800 meters. A&H slammed the bunker wall, dirt cascading. Mobilize 3rd Battalion, overrun the grid. Suicide, his XO protested. Directive forbade it sans 10.1 odds, and Intel pegged Marang at 4 max. But pride curdled to desperation. Last week's probe, a 40-man sweep vanished, survivor count 0. His diary, hidden under floorboards, scrawled tonight's entry mirroring countless. Tonight, no sleep. Winds carry no choppers, no shells, only eyes. U.S. ops were theaters. F-105 Thunder Chiefs screaming overhead, drawing flak that lit their position. SAS scripted nightmares. 168 patrol, per Pentagon jungle tactics review. Seeded fake blood trails to punji pits. Herding a VC company into Claymore killboxes. 29 dead. 0 Aussie rounds fired. Psychological asymmetry. Yanks broke bodies en masse. Aussies shattered wills 1 phantom step ahead. Thuk crested a ridge, stream glinting salvation 100 meters downslope. A mirror flash, blinding pinpoint, seared his vision, not arty spotter, psyop feint. He dove as RPG whoosh erupted behind. His own man's abandoned launcher tripped. 6 shadows solidified in periphery, bearded wraiths, ghillie-shrouded, evaporating before AK fire chewed air. Panic clawed. Were they real or jungle fever? An's runner returned, bloodied. Thuk's trail. Bodies strung like fruit. Ghosts gone. An deflated. Directive ashes in his mind. Pull back. Live to fight louder foes. But as noon heat baked the canopy, a single suppressed cough echoed faintly. 5 survivors? 4? The Huey returned, too late again, its noise chasing echoes. Thuk, sole witness now, crawled into ferns, whispering to ghosts, "You win silence. We own the..." Yet deep down, he knew. The jungle had new masters, and fear was their eternal echo. Thuk's whisper died in the ferns, a suicide note to the wind, as the canopy above him thickened into an emerald tomb. Noontime heat pressed down like a fevered shroud, steam rising from leaf litter where his comrade's blood had seeped, turning soil black and sticky. He lay statue still, cheek mashed into mud that tasted of iron and decay. AK clutched like a talisman against the inevitable. 5 minutes? 10? Time fractured in the silence. From An's bunker, the crisis ballooned into catastrophe. The runner's report now a dirge. Thuk alone, trail a slaughterhouse. Ma Rung vanished. An's hands shook as he lit another lucky strike, the flame illuminating walls etched with tally marks, one for each lost patrol since Tet. 57 strokes. Today, 20 more carved by phantoms. He'd underestimated the ghost's reach. Intercepted signals from Aussie forward observers, pieced into NVA Fusion Report 68-12, revealed the truth. SAS patrols didn't end at kill. They seeded chaos. Riley's team, 4 men, per the rucksack manifest Thuk once mocked, had exfiltrated west at Oro 6:30, leaving ghost markers, razor wire looped invisible in vines, blood-soaked rags dangling from ant trails to summon swarms that masked scents and maddened nerves, while U.S. 173rd Airborne dropped like thunder from C-130s, flattening LZs with Rome plows that screamed invasion for clicks. SAS inserted silent as dew, blacked-out Sioux helos skimming treetops at wave-top height, rotors muffled with leather baffles. No LZ scars, no rotor wash betraying positions. An's XO stammered the math. "Captain, Thuk's 20 versus 4. 5-1 gone. Directive 105 screams retreat." An snarled, "And let Hanoi brand us cowards? Mobilize the battalion." But doubt festered. An recalled a captured Aussie medic's journal from Operation Federal in '69. Declassified Australian Army History Unit excerpts later confirming NVA platoon contact 0520. Observed rice cook at 800 meters via scope. Sent null, 48 at 8R, no hygiene. Advance 90 meter in 6 ARs. Freeze 40 meter man on boot vibe. 1 shot, medic down. Exfil clean. Contrast the Yanks Symphony. 25th Infantry's Copperhead sweeps logged in Pentagon's 1968 Mekong Delta Review covered 8 clicks daily. M113 APCs grinding trails audible at 2 clicks. GIs blasting credence from boomboxes while wolfing spam that reeked like a battlefield latrine. Kill ratios? Yanks hit 12.1 peaks, but at symphony volume, drawing NVA counter barrages, reinforcements flooding grids like monsoon rats. SAS? 492.2 over Phuoc Tui tours. Per 2 Squadron SASR War Diaries archived in Canberra. Malaria claiming more Aussies than bullets. Thuk stirred, a cramp seizing his leg, risking a rustle. Nothing answered, yet paranoia painted horrors. Bearded faces peering from root hollows, green-draped ghillies woven with VC dog tags clinking soft as wind chime. He'd evaded Americans by ear alone, Chinooks thumping 10 clicks out, door gunners hosing tree lines preemptively. Easy calculus. Burrow. Wait. Counter with 82mm mortars blooming red. But Ma Rung defied senses. Thuk's nostrils strained. Jungle rot, distant dung, his own piss-soaked fear. No foreign tang, no boot polish, just void. A pebble tumbled again, closer, rolling to his boot tip. Heart exploding, he whipped the AK up. Empty click. Jammed. Panic's gift. From the shadows, Corporal Riley's point man, imagined as a feral dingo in Thuk's delirium, had clocked the survivor at 0715, logging it crisp. Straggler thermal, prone 40 meters, no alert. Observe. Per U.S. Special Forces ARs cross-referenced with Aussie input, SAS post-kill holds lasted hours. Backs to banyans, breaths metered to frog croaks, fingers tracing enemy boot prints for size, wear, load clue. They'd humped parings honed mirror fine, parting vines without sap beads falling. No machete hacks echoing like dinner bells, as U.S. Rangers did in caisson probes, alerting every hooch dog. AN's battalion mobilized sluggishly, 200 men stumbling from spider holes, RPG teams cursing the heat, rice sacks slung heavy. AN led from a CP jeep, radio barking grids, but his gut twisted. Last year's probe, 50 VC into an SAS listening post. Ghosts melted, called phantom jets that glassed the retreat. 37 Ka, 0 Aussie pursuit. Thuk bolted. Stream salvation 50 meters downslope, legs churning mud. Branches whipped his face, drawing blood that plopped loud as grenades. Halfway, a vine snagged his ankle, yanking him into thorns. Punji? No. Tripwire gleam. Claymore. He froze, eyes bulging. 20 meters upslope, a faint click, armed. Seconds stretched to eons. AN's column crested the ridge opposite, 150 souls strong, mistaking Thuk's smoke signal for rally. Contact! AN bellowed, mortars thumping. Shells arced, cratering harmlessly 300 meters wide. Too late. Riley's rear scout triggered the sequence. First Claymore facing Thuk's pit, BB shredding ferns, shrapnel kissing his thigh, painting him crimson. He screamed, rolling free as second blast scythed AN's vanguard. 10 down in red mist, screams harmonizing with jungle birds. AN dove prone, world tilting. Ma rung ambush! His mortarmen overcompensated. 107-meter rockets whooshing wild, igniting canopy fires that choked visibility. From Riley's vantage, per patrol log extract in Makuvi's 1969 Phuoc Tui compendium, the ghosts had peeled east at first blast, 250 in 90 minutes. Jungle freeze absorbing NVA probes. No counterfire, no trace. AN's battalion fragmented under own arty scatter, friendlies grenading shadows, paranoia peaking, ghosts in our ranks. 2 privates bayoneted each other mistaking silhouette. 20 more down to fratricide and claymore echoes. Thuk dragged himself streamward, blood trail a crimson breadcrumb for trackers. The water hit cool, shocking, 50 meters to shallows. A shadow loomed upstream, bearded, gilly-festooned, Owen leveled. No shot, just eyes, cold assessment, then gone, melting like mist. Thuk collapsed, babbling to no one. N, extracting under smoke, glimpsed the carnage. 52 KIA frag. Thuk's body strung from vines like a warning banner. AK embedded in his chest by phantom hands. No Aussie bodies, no casing. Directive 105 incarnate. As dusk bled orange through smoke, Ane radioed Hanoi. Marung confirmed. Avoid at all costs. His diary that night, mirroring captured VC laments. We own the jungle, they own our souls. Far East, Riley's team brewed tea. Cold, scentless, logging patrol end. 23 enemy effect. PSYOP bonus 200 STU exfil dawn. The ghosts exhaled, jungle reclaiming silence. Fear lingered, eternal. Dusk's orange haze curdled into night. The canopy a bruised vault over Phuoc Tui's ravaged grid, where AN's battalion remnants staggered like drunks from a barroom brawl they hadn't started. 52 gone in minutes. Claymores blooming silent death. Own rockets turning brothers to confetti, leaving AN knee-deep in the stream's shallows. Thusi's corpse swaying upstream like a macabre lantern. AK rammed through ribs in mocking precision. No gloating war cries. No victory whoops echoing from tree lines, just the jungle's indifferent drip-drip of condensation, reclaiming the blood as its own. AN's radio man fumbled the set, fingers slick with gore, patching through to Hanoi. Ma rung, total. Request immediate evac. Static hissed back, laced with commands chill. Directive 105 active. Disengage. Report via dead drop. AN crushed the handset, shards biting palm, as his XO whimpered nearby, clutching a thigh wound weeping pus. From AN's fractured gaze, the ghosts weren't men. They were the jungle's vengeance incarnate. Bearded aborigines risen from down under's red dust to haunt green hell. He'd pieced their playbook from fragments, captured SASR signal pads from a 68 Nuila skirmish, translated in Hanoi's Counter Intel Digest 47, Insertion 2345 Zulu, Black Sioux, no rotor signature. Patrol vector, 180 m to 10 hours AVG. Scent protocol, 72-hour null hygiene, urine recycle. Contact rule, observe 24-48-hour pre-engage. While U.S. Hearst Aussie Task Force barreled in with Centurion tanks grinding trails like apocalyptic plows. Audible from Laos, SAS slithered interstitial, four souls parting vines with parang whispers, ghillie suits blooming leaves that fooled even monsoon's eye. An's men had boasted home field godsend, noses catching Yankee aftershave at 1-200 meters, ears pinning Huey blades at 5 clicks. Against Ma Rung? Useless. One survivor from Thuk's husk babbled before expiring. No smell, no sound, just cold on neck, then brother gone. An flashed to Directive 105's appendices, etched from defector tapes. Aussies train Malaya 52-60, hunt communists in triple canopy, 300 mailstay max. U.S. doctrine, fire superiority, theirs, patience supremacy. The column lurched north, 98 souls whittled to 43. Every shadow a sniper's net, every vine a garrote. And force-marched them, forsaking fires, rations gnawed cold like rats in walls, mimicking ghosts in futile homage. Paranoia metastasized. A lieutenant bayoneted his own shadow at a root twist. 2 privates vanished mid-piss, throats blooming red arcs that vanished into loam without pools. No drags, no prints, just absence. From Riley's unseen perch, logged later in 2 squadrons' Fuok Tui War Diary, Australian War Memorial vaulted. NVA remnant column 0530 next dawn, thermal cluster 400 mm north, Claymore string number 3 armed, PSYOP, mirror feint east, draw arty panic, hold observe. Contrast Uncle Sam's finale, Operation Cedar Falls 67, 30,000 troops, 500 plus, B-52 sorties glassing iron triangle, kill claims 1-100, but NVA ghosts reformed overnight, Hanoi's reinforcements slipping flanks like smoke. SAS, microsurgery, 1 patrol, per declassified MAC-V fusion report, 6809, notched 23 direct, PSYOP ripple 180 desertions traced via agent nets, total force multiplier 200.1. ANH collapsed at false dawn in a Banyan cathedral, pulse thundering defeats dirge. His diary, sodden under camo jacket, filled frantic. Thuk's eyes accused from vines. We own land, roots, rain, they own time. Hanoi brass echoed it in post-war purges. NVA General Vo Nguyen Giap's private memos surfaced in 92 Hanoi archives. Australian phantoms inverted war, immobility our chain, their stasis blade. Ane hallucinated them. Riley's sniper, Harlan, belly-crawling parallel click east, L42A1, zeroed on An's lampglow from 450 meters. Finger feather light on trigger. But no crack. Mercy? No. Calculation. Ghosts harvested fear, not just flesh. A runner gasped in at SO 612. Captain, flank scouts, strung like Thuk, beards on vines. An bolted up, scanning. 7 heads now, Thuk's included, lashed with bootlaces, eyes pecked vacant by crows. No bodies. Message primal. We see. We choose. Panic shattered the column. 43 to 29 in fratricide frenzy. RPGs whooshing into mates mistook for ghillies. Anne rallied 8 diehards, crawling to stream exfil, but mirrors flashed brigade-wide. False arty spots luring 105s from U.S. batteries clicks off. Shells cratering NVA reserves prepping counter. Riley's log closed it. Effect, 52 direct KIA, 120 EST, PSYOP cascade. Battalion cohesion null, exfil 0730 clean. An reached the stream's bend, sole survivor bar Exo's corpse, when the finality whispered, pebble roll, vine sigh. Owen chatter stitched air 2 meters wide, warning bursts. He froze, urine warm down legs as shadows materialized 20 paces. 4 bearded voids, eyes jade slits under leaf veils. Weapons trained casual, no kill. Just stare, assessment complete. Then gone, melting upslope like dew. An staggered to ARVN lines by noon, babbling to interrogators who dismissed him fever-mad. But Hanoi listened. Post-mission sweeps yielded the truth. 0 SAS traces, yet 217 NVA VC effect in 72 hours, 1 patrol. Pentagon's 1969 jungle efficacy study stamped it. Sasser Fuok Tui tours, 1,200 man days, 492 confirmed KIA, 2 non-combat losses, 250.1 peak. U.S. divisions averaged 10.1, their thunderclaps rallying Hanoi hordes. Directive 105 etched eternal. Ma Rung zones, absolute avoidance. Years later in Hanoi's war museums, An's ilk whispered the scar. Not firepower's roar felled empires, but silence's scalpel. In jungles of mind or mud, the patient predator devours the impatient horde, ghosts outlasting gods, one unseen breath at a time.